Welcome back to The Explainer. So, if you've been following our journey into design research, you know we've already spent a ton of time talking about how we gather data, right? We've covered how to observe, how to interview users, all that good stuff. But once you actually have all those notes, the transcripts, the raw observations, a massive new challenge pops up. Like, how do you actually organize all of that raw research into something you can, use? How do you take those scattered sticky notes and turn them into a clear, actionable understanding of the user? Well, today we're going to crack that exact code.
Okay, let's dive straight into our agenda. We're covering 1. Designing for everyone fails. 2. Enter the user persona. 3. The anatomy of personas. 4. The backpack example, featuring Ria. 5. Personas across design fields. And 6. Research over assumptions.
Section 1. Designing for everyone fails. The danger of an abstract audience. Let's talk about the very first hurdle we face when we sit down to create. Have you ever heard a designer confidently say, "I am designing a mobile app for everyone"? I mean, it sounds amazing, doesn't it? It sounds super inclusive, really ambitious, totally visionary. But honestly, this quote highlights a deeply flawed mindset that a lot of us start out with. It is a massive, massive trap. Because when you say you're designing for everyone, you really have to stop and ask yourself, but who is everyone? Just think about a beautifully diverse market like India for a second. Everyone includes a 20-year-old college student with 5G internet, but it also includes a 75-year-old grandfather trying to navigate a smartphone for the very first time. You've got people with vastly different lifestyles, totally different tech skills, and completely different expectations. So when you try to design for everyone, you usually end up designing for absolutely no one, because the target is just way too chaotic and abstract. Which brings us to Section 2, Enter the User Persona, giving research a human face. So how do we fix this? How do we take that chaotic research and give it a human face? Well, the ultimate solution here is the user persona. A user persona is a fictional but highly realistic representation of a user group. Now, the absolute key phrase here is created using real research data. You might make up their name, maybe their profile picture is just a stock photo, but their needs, their challenges, and their daily motivations, those are absolute hard facts drawn straight from your observation and interview data.
And this brilliantly illustrates the paradigm shift we need to make. We're moving away from the abstract audience, which is basically designing for a faceless, totally unpredictable crowd where you're essentially just guessing, and we're shifting over to the specific persona, designing for a highly focused, really well understood individual. When you stop and ask, how will this specific person experience my design? I promise you, your entire creative process becomes razor sharp.
All right, Section 3, the anatomy of personas, the 4 pillars of user profiles. So we know what they are, but how do we actually build them? Every solid, realistic persona is built on these 4 crucial pillars. First up, the basic profile, their age, profession, and day-to-day lifestyle. Second, their goals, like what is their daily quest? What are they actually trying to get done? Third, their challenges or pain points. What dragons are they fighting every single day? And fourth, their behaviors and preferences. How do they make decisions? What influences them? Flushing out these 4 pillars literally takes your raw data and breathes life into it. Let's look at Section 4, the backpack example, Ria, zooming in on a hyper-specific profile. Now, what's really interesting about this is when we make it highly practical. Let's zoom in on a very relatable everyday scenario here. Meet Ria. She isn't just some abstract user. She's a college student, and her daily commute means fighting her way onto incredibly crowded local trains. She's carrying a heavy laptop, heavy textbooks, and her steel tiffin box. Add to that, she's battling unpredictable, heavy monsoon weather, and on top of it all, she struggles with severe shoulder discomfort from lugging all that weight around. You can practically see her, right? You can feel the very specific struggles of her day. So the crucial point is how this instantly transforms your design brief. A vague brief just says, the user needs a bag. If you start there, you could design literally anything. A flimsy canvas tote, a massive hiking backpack. It's way too open. But look at the persona-driven brief. Rhea needs a lightweight, water-resistant bag to prevent shoulder pain on crowded trains. Boom! Immediately, your design parameters are set. You know you need water-resistant materials for the monsoon, you need ergonomic padding for that shoulder pain, and a super slim profile so she can actually fit on that crowded train. The persona is doing the heavy lifting for your design logic. Moving to Section 5. Personas across design fields. Same human-centered approach, different disciplines. Now, you might be sitting there thinking, okay, this is great for product design, but what about my specific field? The beauty is, this incredibly powerful tool applies everywhere. It's the exact same human-centered approach. In UI/UX, maybe your persona is a senior citizen trying to use a UPI payment app, so you immediately know you need larger text and super clear buttons. In fashion, your persona might be a working professional in a humid city, which means you're designing breathable, fusion ethnic wear. For interior designers, personas help balance the crazy complex habits of a multi-generational Indian family all living under one roof. Graphic designers use them to localize campaigns for regional festivals. And in branding, they are absolutely vital for figuring out how to build trust in Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. It really is the universal language of good design. Section 6. Research over assumptions. The golden rule of crafting personas. And this brings us to the most important foundational rule of crafting any user profile. You absolutely must draw a strict line between dangerous guesswork and solid actual design. The assumption mindset says, I know what users want. Honestly, that's just the voice of ego talking, and it leads to products that completely flop in the real world. The research mindset, which is what we're going for here, says, I understand users because I studied them. Your personas have to be built on the bedrock of all that observation and interview data we've been talking about. Research is what makes a persona a powerful tool rather than just a fun, creative writing exercise. Ultimately, personas help you shift from designing for abstract people to designing for real people. They literally give your data a heartbeat. But while a persona tells you exactly who you are designing for, it naturally leads us to a massive new question. You know who they are, but do you know what their journey looks like? Like, how does Rhea actually move through her entire day step by step, interacting with the world? Well, that is a whole different puzzle, and it's exactly what we're going to unpack when we explore user journey mapping. Until next time, keep studying your users, keep building those highly specific profiles, and I'll see you in the next explainer.